Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Jessica McDonald. I'm a knitting pattern designer and I'm coming to you from the mountains of Idaho. Today is May 8th and it is cold and windy, you know, a typical spring day. I meant to do a podcast in April, but I skipped right over it because I've been really busy in my garden just trying to get everything in and planted. We have a really short growing season, so if I don't plant things on time in the spring, it's just not going to mature in time. So I've been really busy with that. The garden has been a giant mess. It's full of weeds and cheatgrass, and I didn't clean it all out last fall. So it's been a lot of work, Been really overwhelmed with it all, but my mom came. It was Jimmy's birthday yesterday and he turned 4, so my mom came, and she came Thursday evening. She was here all day Friday, which was yesterday, and she left this morning, and in that amount of time, she did all of my laundry. She cleaned my mudroom and my bathrooms, and all of my kitchen cabinet fronts and the fridge and all that stuff, and my range hood, and pulled a bunch of weeds out of my garden. Which was really nice. It was an absolute blessing to have her come and just do a whole bunch of stuff. She gets up really early and she's the kind of person who cannot be still. She has to do something. So she had plenty to do here. There's enough here to keep her from being bored. So it was really nice that she came. Jimmy really liked that she was here for his birthday, and yeah, it was really nice to see her. So now today I have been working in my office all morning, and I wrote another pattern, but obviously haven't knitted it yet, so I have nothing to show you. But I am wearing one of my FOs. So I can't remember exactly how far I was on this pattern last podcast, and I didn't go back to look. But I'm wearing my Wyathia tee, this gray linen t-shirt. It is designed to go over top of a dress, but it's cold, so I didn't want to wear a dress. So you can tell me if this outfit looks silly. My husband told me I looked weird, but what does he know? So, now you can see the whole thing in all of its glory. Wyethia is a cropped linen tee. It's got a boxy fit, and it has short rows so that the back is lower than the front, which you can see here. I've cropped it. It sits right below my natural waist. My natural waist right about here, so the front is just below that. So I've designed it with the thought that I would wear it over top of dresses, which I'm not doing today. So if it's cropped, then it sits right at where the waistline of the dress hits, and then it would look really cute. Or with high-waisted jeans or a high-waisted skirt or something. So here's the lace. It's really simple, really fun to knit, really graceful, and it makes this really gently scalloped edge that I really like. And it goes all the way around the hem. This is knit in Shibui Knits Reed. It's their fingering weight linen. I don't remember the name of the color. I think it's ash. So this is the crop length. I've also written the pattern so it has a full length version. Let me squat down awkwardly so you can see the neckline. It's got a V neckline, but it's not too low, so you don't have to worry about showing off more than you want to. And then these little tiny sleeve cuffs. I didn't think it looked quite right with just a raw edge on the sleeve. So I wanted to give it a little bit of something to make it look completed. It also helps to pull. This is a drop shoulder, so this just comes across square. There's short rows in the shoulder to shape it, but it mostly just comes across square. So if you put this little cuff on, then it helps pull the edge edge of the shoulder down over your arm for a little cap sleeve. I didn't do any finishing on the neck because I preferred it without. I tried a few different things and just didn't like them. I liked it best with the raw edge, so that's how I left it. Yeah, so I'm very happy with this. It's really cute. It's really stylish of the moment, but not something that I think will be too limited in style. I think you'll be able to wear this for a long time. Anyway, so I really like this lace in the hem. I had a swatch of this lace pinned to my board for like 2 years, just waiting for the perfect thing. So I finally used it. So this is Wyethia. It's done. It's not in test knitting yet because I haven't got the pattern back from the tech editor. Hopefully she'll get it back to me tomorrow so I can start the test knit on this one next week, because I'm planning to release it in July. So if all goes according to plan. So I really like this. It's really cute. It makes me feel cool. I can be one of the cool kids now. I've always admired on Instagram seeing women wearing, you know, a little cropped sweater over their dress or with their skirt. And I've never been quite brave enough to jump in and try it. Last time I made something trendy, I held a sweater together with mohair, fingering weight with merino with a strand of mohair, and I didn't like it because the mohair is irritating to my skin. So I've been a bit hesitant to jump onto trends because I don't know if I'll like them, and there's no point in making something you don't like, and I don't want to waste a whole bunch of knitting time making something I don't like. So I have taken my sweet time making a cropped sweater, but I finally have, and I really like it. It's really cute. So hopefully you guys think it's cute too. I think it's cute, and you can tell me if this outfit looks weird. I thought it was kind of cool to wear the cropped linen tee over top of a just plain white button down. So you can tell me down below. Do I look cool, or is my husband right? Am I weird? I don't know. So that's my first FO, Wyathia, and oh, I should tell you about the name before I go on. So I could not come up with a name for it. Just couldn't come up with a name for it. So finally I decided that I would make a list of all the Idaho wildflowers, and I would name my summer patterns after Idaho wildflowers. Then I have kind of a theme, and I have some names ready to go. So Wyethia is a flower that grows up in the mountains. It's kind of short, about 1 foot tall. It's got a big white daisy looking bloom, and then the ears are really long and lobed. It's commonly called mule's ears because its leaves look like a mule's ears, but I didn't think mule's ears was a good choice. So that's how it got its name, Wyethia. It's W-Y-E-T-H-I-A. So hopefully it's not too bizarre to spell. Anyway, so that's where it got its name. Now we're going to go on and talk about some almost finished objects. I have 2 sweaters from my Woodland Ramble collection. The last 2 sweaters done being knitted, but I haven't woven in the ends or blocked them. So I don't know if it counts as an FO if it's not completely finished, but anyway. I've been so busy trying to get the patterns done and written into a tech editor and then into test knitting that as soon as I finish knitting one, I just put it aside and pick up the other one, because I meant to have everything done and into tech edit or test knitting by the end of April, and it's May, so I'm a little behind, but I'm nearly there. So this one is called Ponderosa. This was actually the very first design that I came up with for this pattern, for this Woodland Ramble collection, but it wasn't the first one that I knit because there wasn't enough of the main color that I wanted in stock. So I had to wait till it was restocked. So that's why it wasn't the first one I knit. But this one has basically been designed for since last September or October, I think. I was going to do it as a standalone pattern, and then I've kind of had this idea for a year or two to have a whole woodland themed kids collection, and then I was like, you know what, this would be the perfect design for Woodland Ramble, and I should just do it, and I should just make it into a book. And so that's what I've done. I feel like I'm really disjointed and rambling today. I'm very tired, so if I seem tired, that's why. Anyway, back to the sweaters. This is Ponderosa. It's knit from the top down in the round with the colorwork yoke. So here you can see the colorwork. Let me focus on just the colorwork so you can see it. So I designed these little trees first, and then I wanted some graphic color designs in here, some different colors. But after I made it, Jim, my husband, he just looked at it and he goes, why didn't you put snow caps on the mountains? Like, what mountains? There aren't any mountains. Can you see the mountains? There are very obvious mountains. Which I didn't even realize they were there until he said something about it. Then I put up a poll on Instagram and most people saw the mountains. So apparently it was just me who didn't see the mountains. There are 3 colors in this yoke. So the dark green is the main color, and then you've got this medium gray and the white. It's not a true white. I'll show it to you later. But so there's three colors in this yoke. Show you. There we go. Focus on it again. And nothing at the cuffs or the hem. I just like to do the yoke, and yeah, that's how I like to do it. This one is, I don't know if it's my favorite. I like them all. I thought it would be my favorite when I started into this collection. I thought, oh yeah, Ponderosa is going to be my absolute favorite of all of them. And I feel like it kind of should be my favorite because it's my favorite color. But I don't know. They're all pretty nice. So this is the first time I've put short rows in the back neck of one of my kid patterns. So you can see, here's the front, and the back is a little bit raised so it fits nicer. This is the first time I've done that. I think that kid sweaters fit okay without the short rows in the back neck. I think adult sweaters need them. I think kid sweaters fit okay, but I wanted to try it and see if I liked it better, and I do. It fits my daughter a lot better. Just lays a lot nicer around the neck with the short rows in it. So I like the short rows. So this one is Ponderosa. Am I out of focus or not? Hang on. Anyway, it's knit in Rerum Natura Gilead, and the colorways for it is the green, then the gray is Goland, and the white is Wyethia, I think is how it's pronounced. It's French yarn with French names, and I am not good with French pronunciation. So there's Ponderosa. Then this one I really love too. This one is called Cedar. So I wanted to make 2 sweaters out of the sport weight yarn, which is Ulysse, and 2 sweaters out of the worsted weight yarn, which is Gilead. And I wanted to have 2 colorwork yoke sweaters, and I wanted the second colorwork yoke sweater to have all of the colors of the collection in it, which it doesn't have the white in it. But the main colors are the gray, the caramel, and the green. So I had that kind of as my guideline for designing this sweater, and then I had a lot of trouble coming up with the design. Not because I didn't have any ideas, but because I had so so many ideas. One of my other ones was a bottom-up raglan sleeve pullover with all over color work, just little small motifs all over. And that was my idea that I had when I first bought the yarn. But then as time went on, I was like, no, another yoke sweater would be nice. People really like yoke sweaters. I really like yoke sweaters. And then I had another idea where I wanted to put a star at the bottom of the yoke and smaller motifs above, and that's what happened. Basically, what I went with is the idea that I preferred on the day that I wrote the pattern. Because the ideas would kind of just have their turn being my favorite. And so, yeah, this is the one that was my favorite the day I needed to write the pattern, which I really love this. Let me bring it up closer so you can see. So this is the size 2 that I made for Aiden. I don't know if it's still trying to focus on my face or not. You can see I've got the caramel and the green, and the gray is the main color on the background. It is just really cute. This also hasn't been blocked and hasn't had its ends woven in yet, so another almost finished object. Another consideration I had when making this is I wanted something that would be a really easy, simple knit. This one isn't hard, but it's got 3 rounds where you have to do 3 color knitting, and a lot of the floats are longer. Like you can see. I don't know if you can see, especially in this section here. The floats are a bit longer, which makes it more difficult for a less experienced colorwork knitter to knit. To make it easier and more beginner friendly, it's good if the floats are shorter. So I wanted something with shorter floats. And I also wanted something where the increases were not integrated into the colorwork, because on here, the increases are all worked in this bit right here. So you have to remember to do different colors and increase at the same time. So you're kind of doing 2 things at once, which makes it a little more complicated. It's not hard, but it's a little more to keep track of. Whereas in Cedar, all of the increases are worked. You can see there's plain, start focusing on my face, plain main color rounds between the color work. So that's where the increases are worked. So you don't have to keep track of color work and increases at the same time. You're just doing color work and then you're just doing increases. So it makes it a lot easier to knit. And then the floats in this section are a lot shorter, but then there are a few longer floats in the star section. But by the time you've got there, hopefully you've got a little practice under your belt and you can do them just fine. So this one is a little bit easier colorwork yoke sweater as compared to Ponderosa. So this one's super cute. Size 2 for Aiden. It's a bit big. It's quite a bit big for him. He's 18 months, so it's a bit big for him. So I'm just going to roll up the cuffs like so. And the body will be loose and long, but if I roll up the cuffs, then the sleeves will fit him just fine, because I mean, it's May. He's really not going to wear this until September. That's 4 months away. In 4 months, he's probably going to grow into it. So I didn't want to make him something that he fits in right now, because he's not going to wear it for a while. So this is Cedar. This is made in Durham Natura Ulisse, which is a sport weight yarn, and it's colorway Goland for the gray, caramel is the star, and then Forite is the dark green. So it's got all the colors of the collection in this one sweater. So I have all the sweaters done, and in case you forgot, I know I've showed you these before, but I've got them all here. Here's Birch. This one's been blocked, so it looks much nicer. Birch. And also Tamarack. Here we go. My mom really likes this one. She wants to knit this one, but she doesn't want to make a shawl collar. But she's planning to make this one because my mom is really petite. So I think she could knit the size 12 years just fine, because I think it's, I can't remember if this one is a 34 or a 36 inch finished chest circumference. But if you are a petite woman, you could probably make the largest size of this and fit in it just fine. The buttons for Tamarack have come though. I meant to show you those. Aiden has had a hold of them, so yeah. Forgive the messy card. Aren't those gorgeous? They're from Idlewild Clay. I found her on Instagram and she makes wooden buttons. Here's the other one. She makes wooden and clay buttons, and she also makes some other pottery pieces like mugs and things. So I asked her to make me some 3/4 inch buttons, because most of her buttons that she makes are inch, and she very happily made me these buttons for Tamarack. Made out of lilac. I think they're going to be absolutely perfect. This is really hard to show off here. Pinch it by the string. There. Now you can see with my head. Ugh. There. It's going to look really nice. It's going to look really good with those buttons on it. I'm really happy with them. I just have to sew them on, which sewing on buttons is my least favorite part of the finishing, so it tends to get left for as long as possible. So let me show you the whole sweater stack all together. So here's Ponderosa, which is worsted weight, and Tamarack, which is worsted weight, and Birch, which is sport weight, and Cedar, which is sport weight. So here's the whole collection, all the sweaters from the collection. I think they go together really well. I've got a couple textured ones, a couple colorwork ones. I'm really pleased. This whole collection makes me really happy. Like, this just feels like it's right up my alley, just my style. I really love these. So, after making all these sweaters, beautiful, beautiful sweaters, I have leftover yarn, as you do. You know, when you make colorwork yoke sweater, you have quite a bit of leftover yarn sometimes. So I decided that I was going to make the accessories with the yarn that's left over from the sweaters. So the yarn that's left over from Ponderosa is becoming the snowy hat and mittens. Okay, I'll show you the mitten first. So here's the mitten. Focus on it instead. I was originally going to just shrink the motif from the yoke of Ponderosa and slap that on a mitten, but then one day I was looking at my leftover yarn and it just popped into my head, this idea. So you have the green on the bottom and your little trees, and then snowy skies up above. I think it's super cute. I love it. I absolutely love it. I've only got one mitten made. This is the size 2. So there's 4 sizes. I thought this would fit my 8-year-old. According to the size charts that I followed, this should fit my 8-year-old, but it doesn't. It fits my 6-year-old. So I'm gonna knit the size 3 and see if it fits my 8-year-old. So anyway, this is the snowy mitten. This is my first ever mitten design. Isn't it cool? I actually made a mitten successfully. That's pretty cool. So one of the considerations I had while designing this mitten is the floats. So when you stick your hand in there, you don't want your fingers to get stuck in the floats. So I needed to think about how to manage the floats, particularly as you go from one side to the other. You don't want it to just cut straight through the mitten and then they get their pinky stuck in it. So on the side of this one, it's got a little bush between the trees. Little bush there, just to manage the float and help it to come around this corner neatly so that it doesn't catch fingers. And then I've also, you probably can't tell, but there's more frequent snowflakes along this edge too. So just trying to keep track of all my floats in here. Here's a little bush on the thumb gusset here, just to keep the green yarn from coming, because otherwise it would just like cut straight through here and then you'd get your thumb stuck in it. So I needed to bring it and fix it over here so that it's laying neatly on the inside, which I think I succeeded pretty well. I'm going to turn it inside out so you can see the inside. I think I succeeded pretty well, and the floats are not super long, but there are still floats. My daughter can put it on just fine. She doesn't seem to get her fingers stuck in any place, but I was still a little concerned. I thought that I might try to felt the floats a little bit. So when I wash it, when it's still wet, just come and like rub like this a little bit to get the float to stick to the fabric behind the float to kind of hold it more securely against the back of the mitten. I'm not sure if that will work or if I'll just really mess up my mitten. So like I said, this is a size 2 and I'm going to make size 3 so Talia can wear them. So I thought I might try it with this one, and then if I ruin it, it's not the end of the world. I don't know. What do you think? I don't want to ruin my mitten, but I do want to try that to see if I can secure the floats a little better. So if you've done that, you can give me your tips and tricks in the comment section, because I've never knit a colorwork mitten before in my life. And here I've written a pattern. I've knit mittens, but never colorwork ones. So, yes, so this is the snowy mitten. I'm so happy with it. Like, I design sweaters all the time, and they're much more complicated and they take much more work and a lot more time to knit it, and then I'm just make this little mitten, and I'm just so delighted with myself for designing a mitten, and it came out in a mitten shape and it fits and everything. So yes, this is the snowy mitten. There are 4 sizes in that will be included in the book, but each size has its own chart. So it only goes up to an adult small. So yeah, which to include an adult small in a collection for children is probably fine. My time's about to run out. I'm going to pause this and then I'll continue talking in just a second. So each size of this mitten is individually charted because I've done different things with the trees, slightly different things with the trees. So this is size 2, size 1, the trees are just a teeny bit closer together, and it doesn't have this little bush on the side because the trees are a lot closer together. And then size 3, the trees are a little further apart. And then in size 4, which is the adult small, the trees are actually bigger. So this is 3 levels, the adult size, the adult small, I guess it could be a teenage size, has 4 levels in the tree. So I couldn't like take this section, you know, and call it a repeat and just add more, because if I just add more, it either throws off the symmetry of the mitten or it makes it way too big. So I just gave every single size their own individual chart. So every single size has this same thing where you have 2 trees on each side, front and back, and then snowy sky up above. Because I wanted them all to look the same. I didn't want to do it where I put another repeat over here and there was kind of a repeat going up the side. I thought that would look weird. So every size has its own chart, which means it takes up a lot of space. And since I'm planning to print this into a book, I do need to be a bit mindful of the amount of space I'm using up, because more pages cost more money to print the book. So I've included 4 sizes for this one, from I guess 2 years old all the way up to an adult small size. I do plan to make 1 or 2 more sizes for this mitten to include them in the adult collection. But I'll just do that when I do the adult collection and leave this as more kid focused. But if you are a woman with average size hands, you could make the largest size probably and be fine. I have really big hands, and according to the measurements, the adult size that will be included should fit my hand. So I keep feeling like this is out of focus. Maybe I'm just not looking at it well enough. I apologize if it's blurry and I don't realize it. So that's the mitten, the snowy mitten. This is size 2. I'm going to make size 3 because the size 2 doesn't fit Talia. And Talia is who this sweater is for, so I kind of wanted to have her wear this sweater and then she could wear these mittens too. And then you can see very easily in the photos that it's, you know, goes together. Yeah. Because it's kind of a set, because I'm using the same yarn. So there's the mitten, the snowy mitten, and then the hat, which I am not done with, and I'm gonna rip part of it out. So the hat, here we go, it has a fold up brim, and then it has the trees, but the trees are slightly bigger because I felt like they should be on a hat, and then the snowflakes are also bigger, which hopefully you can see the snowflakes in there okay. And then the crown is going to have a big snowflake. It's going to switch to the white in the crown, have a big snowflake shape on the crown, and then just switch to white, and then I was going to put a white pom-pom on top. So you kind of have, you know, your forest with the snow falling through the gray sky, and then your big snow cloud up top. But I'm going to rip it back. So I must be using a weird size chart or something because it told me to knit it super long. And my husband kept saying, I think it's long enough. I think it's long enough. I'm like, no. According to the size chart, it needs a couple more inches. And this isn't even to the length of the size chart that I was following. And it's way too tall. So you can see here, I've ended by this snowflake. I'm going to rip it back to the top of this snowflake. So I'll lose a little more than 1 inch, which hopefully will be enough. And then I'm decreasing too fast. You can see it's kind of puckering at the top. So I'm decreasing too fast. So I've adjusted the rate of the decreases as well. So tonight I'm going to just rip this whole thing back to down here and then reknit the crown, which shouldn't take me too long because it goes pretty fast on a hat. And that should be it, because this is a size that should fit an 8 to 12-year-old size. And I tried it on my 8-year-old and it's really, really long. Her head ends about here. So it's way too deep. It just pokes up and looks really silly. So good thing I have these normal sized people to try things on, because size charts that you find on the internet are not always reliable, especially with children. You're almost guaranteed that the size chart is wrong with children, honestly. So I've written my own sizing standards for kids because I was kind of frustrated with things not fitting well, so I just came up with my own over the course of the last few years. So this is the snowy hat. You can tell that the snowflakes are kind of muted. They don't stand out super strong, and that's because this color that I'm using, this white that I'm using, is not actually white. It's a very, very light gray, or maybe it's a heathered white. So it's got a white base, but then it's got a lot of gray mixed into it, which makes it work really well in this collection. I think it especially looks really nice in this yoke, because I like how the colors blend together, but that means that the snowflakes don't pop super well, which there's pretty decent contrast between these two when you just look at them in the skein. But when you knit them up, you end up with a bit of a muted effect, which I'm going to be honest, I really like. I really like that the snowflakes are kind of blending in. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks really nice. But if you wanted your snowflakes to pop super well, you could just use a perfectly white instead of this. Although I'm going to be honest, even though I'm kind of designed this around the whole color scheme, I don't really expect a lot of people to follow the same color scheme. One of my Ponderosa test knitters is making hers all in pink, like different shades of pink. It looks fantastic. And another person used gray and orange, which looks really good too. So it's really fun to see the test knitters do it in different colors. It still looks really good, even if it's in a different color. Because it's fun to have orange trees or pink trees. So this, I'm going to show you them all together again. This and this and this all to go together. So I'll tell you how much yarn roughly I've used. So to make the sweater in the size 8 and the hat and this one mitten, I've used 3 skeins of the green, which is 4/8. And I still have this much left of the 3rd skein. And then 1 skein each of these 2 colors. So for these 5 skeins, I'm going to be getting a sweater, a hat, and a pair of mittens. And I'll still have some left. So that's pretty good. I was getting a little nervous as I was knitting the hat that I was going to run out of the gray. But I'm not going to. I only need like 8 or 10 grams per mitten, and this is 27 grams left, so I'll be able to make 2 size 3 mittens and then possibly another size 2 mitten to finish off this set. So this yarn from Durham Natura has a lot of yardage in it. It goes a long way, and it's really nice. So that's my, let me refocus this again, just because, I don't know, being a little extra maybe. So that is my whole Woodland Ramble collection so far. Put it all in a stack again, because why not? There we go. Mitten must be in there somewhere. It's right there. There we go. Doesn't that look cool? All those colors together. So cozy. Awesome. I'm very excited about this collection. I've been having so much fun putting it together as a collection because so far all of my patterns have been individual releases, and even if they might be kind of similar or kind of be in the same style, I've never put together a collection that's supposed to go together and be cohesive. So putting together all these patterns as a collection has been really, really fun. Just really, really fun. I've really enjoyed it. So I think I'll keep doing that. These are all in sizes 2 years to 12 years, and I have had a lot of people request adult versions of all of these patterns. So I'm planning to do an adult version of this whole collection next year. I might start working on it this fall, but I'm not going to have time to do it before then. So I'll just make all these into adult sweaters, and then you can all have them as adult sweaters too. Oh, this hat, there's 4 sizes in this hat, and it goes from 18 inches. So I think the smallest one is an 18-inch circumference, finished hat circumference, and the largest is 24. I think it's 18, 20, 22, and 24. So this is in adult sizes. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, so I'm planning to make these all into adult sweaters. I've had so many people ask for Tamarack, which honestly kind of surprised me because it's a really simple texture, and I was a bit worried that people would be kind of about it, you know? I wanted to do at least one cardigan, something really cozy. The shawl collar makes it super cozy. I wanted some really interesting but simple texture, so I did this broken rib stitch, which is really easy to knit. It makes a lovely texture, and so many people want an adult version of Tamarack, and I kind of expected that Ponderosa would be everybody's favorite, but I don't know that it is. So it's kind of been interesting to see people's reactions to this whole collection. But if you're looking at them and you are thinking that you want to make one in your size, an adult size, don't worry, they will be coming next year. So I'm planning to put these all together in a book, my Woodland Ramble collection book, but it will also be available as an ebook, and then I'll also make sure you can get just the individual patterns as well. So there'll be a lot of different ways to buy it. I don't know if I'll make the adult collection into a book. I kind of just want to do the Woodland Ramble book with these and see how it goes, because you know, if the book totally flops and everybody just buys the ebook, then why would I do another book? So I'm not going to promise to do another book. You can tell me in the comments section if you really think I should make another book or not. But I am planning to do adult versions of all of these sweaters, so it will come. Just be patient. You can sign up for my newsletter. I will put the link down below so that you can make sure you don't miss out when all of these patterns are released this fall, hopefully in October. That's the date I'm going to. It's my goal date, so hopefully in November. And also when the adult sizes come out, then you'll hear about that as well. So I think that's all of my knitting to show you everything. So yeah, my goal for today is to fix this hat, finish it, and try to knit at least one other mitten, hopefully two, and we'll see. It's cold outside, so I'm not going to go work in the garden. But I really hope I told you everything, because I've been thinking all along the last 6 weeks, oh, I need to talk about this, I need to talk about that. I never wrote any of it down, so anyway, this might be a bit of a ramble. Hopefully you all like it when I ramble, because I do. So the very last piece of this collection is I'm going to make a cowl, a neck warmer, to go with it as well. And I want it to have the leftovers from Cedar. So here's Cedar. Here's the leftovers. You can see that I use hardly any of the contrast colors because this is a size 2 yoke, so there's, you know, it's pretty small. So I have a lot of the contrast colors left over, and then I have another full skein of this gray. I think I used 2 skeins and then a little teeny tiny bit in the size 2. There's less yardage in these ones versus the Juliet ones, I think. I can tell you, I have the yarn tag right here. So this is 185 meters in the Ulysse. Juliet is 250 meters. So yeah, there's a lot more meterage in the worsted weight, plus it's worsted weight, so each stitch creates a larger area, so it goes further. Anyway, so I have these, and I'm going to make the neck warmer out of these. I wrote that pattern this morning, did the whole chart and wrote it all out, which is very simple. So it's going to be, basically I'm going to knit a tube of color work and then join each end together and that will be the neck warmer in these colors. So it'll be a really fun, simple color work project. It'll be nice and cozy and use up the leftovers from Cedar. So I need to do that. And then all of the patterns for Woodland Ramble will be written and knitted up, and yeah. Hopefully my tech edit for Cedar comes back on Monday, and then I'll start the test knit for Cedar next week. Hopefully I'll be starting the test knit for Wyathia next week. And then I'll just need to do the test knits for the snowy hat and mittens and the neck warmer, which will go very fast because they're accessories. I like to give at least a couple months for a sweater, but I mean, you could knit a hat in a day, so it doesn't need a couple months for that test knit. Yeah, that's all of my knitting. I think that's the wrong knitting bag. There we go. I have everything in its own bag, and I've just kept, like, this one has been my Juliet bag, and this one has been my Elise bag, so I don't have to switch around the needles or anything. It's just all in that bag, and I can just print out my new pattern and pop it in there and go. So yeah, that's all my knitting. I wanted to show you something that is not knitting related, but it is wool related, so kind of fits in here. I'm going to show you. So I have been trying to replace plastic things in my house, just to use less plastic, have less plastic around. One of the things that has been the hardest to get rid of is my kitchen sponge. You know that hideous yellow thing you've got sitting in the sink? And it's like, I don't like knitted dishcloths. I don't like that you have to fold them up to use them. I saw Wooden Nest made some like really thick small ones, so I think I'd like to make some like that. But I've never really liked knitted dishcloths, so I've been struggling to find a good replacement for my sponge, my plastic sponge. And then I was shopping for cleaning supplies. Dad's downstairs, so don't worry about it. I was shopping for cleaning supplies. If you can hear Jimmy yelling, Dad's downstairs. Shopping for cleaning supplies on Home Song Market, and I noticed these wool sponges. Isn't that so cool? It's just a giant square of wool. There's two in it in the package. So I'm gonna try these and see how I like them. It's 8 inches by 8 inches, which is massive. I really don't need a sponge this size, but as you use it and wash it, it will felt and shrink. So I think I'm just gonna use one of them and see how much it shrinks with usual use. And if it really doesn't shrink much, I think I'll cut the other one smaller because it's just a wad of wool. Anyway, I thought this was really cool. I got very excited about it and obviously had to buy it. So yeah, it's made by EcoView Fiber Mill, which I know they make yarn. That's a familiar name to me, but I don't know what yarn they make. So wool sponges. I'm gonna try it. I'm excited. Yeah, the thought of all those nasty yellow sponges still sitting in a landfill when I'm dead and gone is disturbing, to say the least. So I'm gonna try these wool ones, see how I like them. Maybe one day I'll just be harsh with myself and say you have to use this even if you don't like it, because to use a plastic sponge is not the best. They harbor bacteria, it's kind of nasty. So I'm excited to try these. Probably an indication that I'm all grown up if I'm excited about a sponge, right? I'm not a kid anymore. So I say so a lot. I'm gonna go and work on my hat. Hopefully you guys all have a good weekend and are having a good spring, and I will see you all again in June. Happy knitting, you guys. Bye.